Hey there, I'm Dr. John Judd with GreenCert MD. It's a new year and time for a new grow. If you're just starting out your garden, you've come to the right place. We're going to run down everything you need to start an indoor grow in 2024. Let's get into it. Thanks for tuning in to our Growing Made Easy series. If you're new here, hey, take a minute, like the video, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content, and leave us a comment about how we can help you with your new garden. Our community is one that celebrates the wonders of cannabis and shares a desire to help all enjoy this amazing plant. With that said, please be constructive in the comments as we're all just trying to learn. Additionally, this content is for adults over the age of 18 and is for educational purposes only. I am not diagnosing or treating any condition you may have, and please know and comply with all of your local laws regarding cultivation. I'd like to begin by stating that in our experience, there are many different ways to reach a successful harvest, and each grower adapts techniques that work specifically for them in their situation. We often liken it to smoking a brisket or going fishing, and that everyone swears their own special techniques are the best, when in reality, there are many ways to run a successful garden. We are going to be focusing on the novice grower in this video series, and therefore are going to focus on one way, out of many, to reach a successful harvest. Later videos will address alternative ways of doing things, and we plan for future seasons of our Grow series to cover additional methods of growing. Additionally, we're going to do our very best to reference products in a variety of price ranges to meet any budget, with links to many of these products located in the description below. And if we miss your favorite product, drop a comment about it and let us know. So in our estimation, the easiest way to begin a new garden is in soil. You've probably heard of hydroponics, deep water culture, and cocoa, but in our experience, starting with a traditional garden in soil that is watered from the top down using a nutrient solution is the most straightforward way to implement and understand. So what equipment will we need to germinate our seeds and run a traditional soil-based grow using top-down watering with a nutrient solution? Let's start with what we'll need to germinate our seeds into seedlings. Germination is the process of going from that ultra-premium seed that you bought to a little baby seedling. Our next video will cover germination in great detail and review a few different methods to go about it, but the easiest method we've come across involves using a seedling tray setup consisting of two parts. The 50-slot seedling insert designed for use with soil or starter plugs, such as the Root Riot plugs, and an underlying tray which will catch your runoff. These can be found in all-in-one kits, including both pieces and the starter plugs, or can be purchased separately. Our suggestion is that if you're completely new, go ahead and buy the kit. You don't have to use all of the starter plugs on the first grow. You can take the extra ones out and simply place them in a Ziploc bag for future use. To this tray, you'll want to add a humidity dome, and I recommend a seedling starter heating pad, though it is not absolutely necessary. Seeds need a warm, moist, dark place to germinate, and the combination of moist, dark starter plugs on a heating pad with a humidity dome give your little plant babies the best chance to germinate in the shortest amount of time. We've also been quite successful without the heating pad, though in my estimation, it sometimes takes longer for germination to occur. Finally, you'll want to have a light close to the plants to provide energy to your seedlings as they break the surface, and we've found a simple light such as this will get the job done nicely. Additional equipment that you'll want to pick up at this early stage include a pH meter and an EC meter. These provide you with a way to test your water and manage feedings to ensure proper waterings and feedings for your plants. Finally, I use a light nutrient solution called Clonex to feed the new seedlings for the first 2 to 3 weeks of life. We will go over watering, feeding, EC, and pH measurements in an upcoming video. The next area to consider is your garden environment. Some people use a space as small as a closet, and others have outfitted an entire room or more. If you're just getting started, picking up a grow tent allows you more control over the environment inside the tent, which is generally more humid and warmer than the typical household environment, especially during the winter months, and also allows you to control lighting schedule inside the tent. When looking at tents, first determine the number of plants you plan to grow. In Missouri, we're allowed to have 6 plants in any given stage of growth, but if you're just starting out, I'd recommend keeping this at about 2. It's less upkeep and less to monitor while learning how to dial things in, such as your nutrients and feeding schedule. If you have future plans to run 4 to 6 plants at the same time, a larger tent such as a 4x4 tent, 5x5 tent, or even larger if your space allows, will be worth it. And while a 4x4 tent is the most popular size, my preferred tent size is a 5x5, which allows 4 to 6 plants with just a little more room than you'd get in a 4x4 tent. But if you're constrained on space, a small 2-plant tent can be found on Amazon for as little as $45. Or even a unit such as the VivoSun Smart Grow Box 1-plant unit that we saw at MJ BizCon is just coming to market and could be a great setup for 1-plant grow at a reasonable price point of $500. Stay tuned for our unboxing video and running the Smart Grow Box through its paces just as soon as it arrives. For those using a traditional tent, the next 2 items you'll need are lights and fans. Air movement is critical to creating a prime growing environment and to prevent mold growth by allowing you to maintain the proper temperature and humidity in the tent. I generally recommend 2 fans. The first is an oscillating fan to help circulate air within the tent and simulate natural wind forces on the plant, which can help in creating a strong, robust plant. The second is an inline fan, which allows you to control temperature and humidity by venting warm, moist air out of the tent at a known rate, generally through a carbon filter. If you speed up that fan, humidity and temperature drop. If you slow it down, humidity and temperature rise. Tent size will dictate what size fans you'll use, but in general, a 2 to 3 foot tent would use a small circulating fan and a 4-inch duct inline fan, and a 4 to 5 foot tent would use a larger circulating fan and a 6-inch inline fan. Next up, lighting. So this is always a hot topic for grow enthusiasts, as there are many different offerings within the industry, and lighting is complicated. There are different types of lighting methods, such as fluorescent, high-pressure sodium, targeted spectrum LEDs, and full-spectrum LED lights. The method of use of lights also varies, as you will need to provide specific energy to your plants at different stages of growth, and this is controlled by the actual strength of the light, distance from the plants, and the spectrum of light being output. Finally, many new lighting solutions offer automation and a high level of control of various aspects. We can't cover everything about lighting in one video, and we plan on doing a deep dive into everything lighting in future episodes of this series. Getting back to the person just starting out growing, here are some general recommendations for selecting a light. We recommend choosing a full spectrum LED light based on your chosen grow tent size. LEDs have become the preferred method of most indoor growers and are generally cheaper, more efficient, and can produce better yields than some older lighting types, such as high-pressure sodium lights. There are a multitude of lights available for any budget, but if you're outfitting a 4x4 or 5x5 tent, we recommend keeping the Goldilocks rule in mind and avoiding the cheapest lights and the most expensive lights and trying to land somewhere in between. For this size tent, you'll want to have an output which measures around 480 watts or around 1100 ppfd. If you have specific questions, leave a comment below and be sure to join our newly launched Patreon, where we will have Patreon-specific content, one-on-one consultations for your grow, and more. We will touch on these items in future episodes, but go ahead and grab yourself some 4-inch round pots, 1-gallon pots, and either 3 or 5-gallon pots for use in repotting your plants as they grow. If you plan on keeping the plants for 6 weeks or longer in the vegetative stage, a 5-gallon pot makes sense, but again, if this is your first grow, keeping the plant size down and flowering a little bit earlier in a 3-gallon pot may be more sensible. You'll also need a waterproof marker and painter's tape for labeling the plants, gallon milk or water jugs for use when watering, and a nutrient line for feeding. Feeding is another huge topic, but for now, choose a nutrient line that fits in your budget. We personally use House & Garden, but there are many great nutrient lines from Fox Farms, General Hydroponics, Heavy 16, Sensi, and more. We have episodes on watering and feeding in the works, so stay tuned for more on those topics. So we've made it through the initial setup of our garden. We have everything necessary to germinate seeds and get them into the vegetative stage successfully, and we are well on our way to a successful harvest. In our next episode, we will cover germination, get some plants going, and we'd love for you to grow along with us as we go through an entire grow in real time. If you found this video helpful, click the like button, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming Grow Series videos. We're so very glad that you joined us on this cultivation journey, and until I see you again, puff, puff, and pass it on.